what would you say the purpose of the Mandarin is?
Very much a venue for public sector leaders. It was modelled on looking at what was happening in Washington about 10 years ago, when we saw a lot of think tanks, bringing debates together around government. And we also saw the digital piece coming and saw how that would help government engage and also empower citizens. And that's precisely what's happened. So we've just tried to stay in the middle there and commission and help and support any sensible sort of observations that are around the government space. Strangely, it's been in a very underreported world. We have 1,000 fashion blogs and many sports newspapers, etc., and lots of business things, but we rarely cover the public sector and try and understand it. And so that's what we tried to do. We tried to put it in a way that is very interactive, so people can engage, understand the issues, keep talking about it, and it's been very successful for us.
So why did you sponsor the Democracy is Being Disrupted event? And what are you seeing as opportunities within the public sector and the way that it's transforming for perhaps better democratic processes?
Well, I think everyone's struggling to try and understand how we respond to these big forces that are changing underlying democratic systems. Some of those are just the fact that people have got a mobile phone. Some of them, they're very well organised. Some of it's very global. There's a lot of big phenomena here. So we try and understand it, and so I thought this was a great venue for that type of discussion. I thought this is a serious observation. There's some underlying drivers that are important to understand if you're going to try and respond to it, and I think we'll cover those. And I think also that just getting a body of people together who are like-minded to sort of focus on these things generates a really powerful conversation, and out of that I think we'll see some learnings as well.
I know you've been moving your work a little bit into the collaboration and cross-sector collaboration space. How do you think that fits into the equation of democracy and governing and transforming government and the way government deliver services and programs?
It's very critical, because these days it can't just be top-down government. That was, if you like, the traditional approach. Government works with a whole big provider economy, an ecosystem of charities and NGOs and providers. So one, it's got to deal with those. It's got the people it's actually dealing with every day, and they're the most critical people, and they tend to be the ones with the knowledge and the understanding. The caseworkers that work with them get that knowledge. So it's really important to have a sort of a total system view. If you're just doing it from top down, that's a sort of if you like, expert approach. And sometimes that works, but in the main these days, people want to participate, they want to engage. You get a better quality out of it, and it sticks. Most importantly, it's not something that's just thrown out the next election. People bond with it.
Yeah, I think the real point of difference that you're highlighting here is that public participation isn't just about, and business participation isn't just about designing and contributing to government services. It's actually about contributing to social and economic outcomes in society, and I think that's really what I've learned through doing community engagement for so long, is that people want to participate in their community as well as to government programs and services.
I think the paradox is not everyone wants to participate. There are some who do. There's some who want to sit on the sidelines. There's some who frankly want to sit way back. So we do need to segment it a bit and get better at understanding that. But at the end of the day, they're all citizens, so they have to engage in some sort of way. Now, some people do that every 3 years, but we've got lots of tools now to engage people all the way through that process. And I think that's the trick. Keeping it constant, keeping it maintained, and then once every 3 or 4 years is, in a sense, a sort of snapshot health check about whether they think the whole thing's working.
Yeah, I'd really like to see the conversation move to a point where we can talk about what methods are appropriate to use between elections, but also when is it appropriate for an elected leader to lead, and when is it appropriate for them to actually engage and enlist the support of the community to design and deliver solutions.
I think you've always got to have a vision, because otherwise you're just opening up the book and saying, tell us everything you want. You've got to have some idea where you're going, and I think that's a real challenge, particularly modern governments. I think they're really struggling to sort of recalibrate their vision in a much more, if you like, noisy world, and a much more, if you like, multicultural world, and cultural as in lots of different people. And so trying to get that sort of clear vision and then saying, well, how do we organise around that is really important, I think. And then people, I think, are ready to participate. My experience is they struggle to participate just when it's there's nothing there to participate against. They've got to have some sort of argument to think about.
Yep.
And that's the role of government, I think, to structure some of that up.